So I'm asking for approval for this warrant to be signed by the commissioners that the funds to pay the above amount be moved to the general fund to cover the costs. And I gave you, oh, I'm sorry, here's the copy. I caught my computer on the staple, sorry about that.
You just get a paper cut because those hurt worse than an
Oh, it's a
amputation.
staple, oh, wow.
Oh, those do.
So I'm sorry. So it's, the bills total is $102,383.03. The county payroll was $192, 176.
$192,176.
And 89 cents for a grand total of $294,559.92.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And on to the jail, the reentry program corrections, that the foregoing bills be approved and paid by the county treasury, the MCRRC fund, $33,162.68. And to approve payroll, the warrant of $53,487.33. The total warrant would be $86,650.01.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I usually dump them anyway.
Sorry about that. Make a mess.
I'm
And-
sorry, who moved to do
I
that?
did.
Thank you. This one, just that.
And just to help with the conversation, I gave you a copy of what the finance director would like to talk to the commissioners about, and for your guidance is regarding Daryl Cranville of Edgewater Reliance. He is the company that does backgrounds, and he is asking, in short, he's asking to see if we can do his payments through ACH.
Is this company located in Maine?
Yes, he has, if I remember this company, he has an office in Maine and in Florida.
I think he resides in Florida.
Yeah.
Um,
And
what is the cost each time that we do a background check?
depending on the level, it could go as high as $350 for a deputy.
Yeah.
It goes as high as $350 per each.
Now, historically in the past, because you had to do this many times in your other professions, do we shop around? How do we come about?
So when I first came on board with them, my predecessor had already had this company in place. I did reach out to another detective that was a retired trooper. And he showed some interest, but there wasn't any follow-up from the conversation, and I took that as he wasn't really interested because I did leave a message. But as of right now, no, there's been, to my knowledge, no research. I have not done any other than
What
reaching
did
out to
you
a
used to
couple.
do?
What did I used to, so when I did the state police trooper hiring process, we assigned it to the troop in which the applicant came out of, so
Oh,
we
okay.
didn't have to go outside. It was all done
All
internally.
internal. Yeah.
And then as a recruiter, my backgrounds really didn't go to the extent of this. We did a criminal and we did motor vehicle. It was dependent on the position. And I had an account with the Maine State Police that will inform me, and I could run the criminal report myself.
Yeah.
And I could request directly with Maine Revenue Service, Maine Motor Vehicle Driver's
Yeah.
Record. So with that, depending on the positions we currently have here, I have used Edgewater because they already have the account set up and they pay them directly. And when I do request just that level, he only charges us $40 for both. So it's so reasonable.
So Carrie's okay with doing the ACH with this
She has
company?
no preference at all. She's familiar with ACH for other companies that we pay for, like Maine PERS we do, and so she has no preference. It's just whatever you folks feel comfortable with. She's happy to do check or ACH.
I don't, Betty would go with you, but I don't
No.
mind if she does. Yeah, okay.
So
Okay,
so then it would be a motion to approve setting up
An
Edgewater
ACH account
Reliance.
for Edgewater Reliance. I'll make that my motion.
second. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you.
And the other half of her report is she just wanted so noted that she borrowed $300,000 from the TAN to help pay county bills and March health plan. And she has the breakdown there in the copy I had attached in the total expenses. And for the health plan, she did have an invoice that she paid from Meritain Malcolm Ulmer, and we got a check register that was having to be paid, and those check registers come weekly, and that one bill was 78,000. And then we got the monthly bill packet from Malcolm from March, and that was 139,000 and some change, rounding up, but
So we're all paid up to date on Malcolm?
yes,
Yeah.
we are. We are current with Malcolm.
Current,
But we had to use TAN. to
just,
do it.
just my map, my scribbling, if you will, because prior to transferring from the county and the jail, their portion of the health insurance, we had $103,057 in that account. For the record, that is the lowest
Yeah.
this account has ever, even when we started
Historically.
it.
Yeah,
It
it is alarming.
At the beginning,
What's that?
even at the beginning.
Yeah, because we initially started it with like 200 or 300,000.
And,
I've never, ever.
and we've got one pending invoice, if approved, is going to be 21,000 right off the bat. So we've got one pending. And I do know of a couple others that are just, due to the circumstances we haven't even gotten the details on.
No.
So I have reached out to Malcolm to ask a couple specific questions if we have options for 2025. But I definitely would encourage us to have a workshop or somehow brainstorm on what we want to do for 2025, because right now we're borrowing money
Yeah,
from
we
TAN
can't.
to pay
This
it.
can't continue. Right?
That, and she gives on page 2 of this, the checking account balance. I've asked for that, and as of last night, we chuckled, it was like at 4:02.
Mhm.
The checking account for the county was 381,586.45. And she left at that and did TAN because we don't know what checks right now, because we mailed we mailed checks 2 weeks ago for the last warrant, so we just didn't know what's balanced. She just wanted to play it safe. And the jail checking account is 243,058.25.
I'm just gonna say so noted.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Commissioner.
Agreed. Thank you. Thank you, Carrie.
Yeah.
Intern Carrie.
Okay, so now to kick into human resources, the HR report, and these are so noted. I'm requesting to have so noted for Deputy Dennis Townsend has reached his 1-year anniversary, and based on the sign-on bonus in which he was hired under, he is now eligible for the remaining balance for his sign-on bonus of $7,500. He fell under the criteria of the $15,000 one. So he will be paid in full for the sign-on bonus.
So we got the
was
first 7,500 when we hired him,
hired- Correct,
and this 7,500 comes at the 1 year,
anniversary.
and is he certified?
Yes, he
Okay,
was
good.
hired as certified, and that's
Okay,
why he
good.
got qualified for the 15,000. He was hired February 20th, 23.
So noted.
And Deputy Lucas Babcock successfully completed the Maine Criminal Justice Academy and is now a certified officer and eligible for the final sign-on bonus for him is $3,750. He was hired July 3rd, 2023 as a non-certified officer, and he only qualified for the $7,500 initial sign-on bonus. So he got $3,500 once he passed part of his field training, and he got $3,750. Now that he's graduated the academy successfully and is now certified, he receives the other $3,750.
Okay, so noted.
And I will process payments for both of these for next payroll, which is March 14th.
Where do you take these sign-on bonuses out of?
Severance.
Out of the severance account?
Yes. So for severance, we pull sign-on bonuses, the quarterly sick bonuses, anything that is not considered pay for services, hourly wage type thing. So it's vacation payouts, sick payouts, LACH, anything that bereavement, we take out of severance.
Thank you.
Yeah. Finally, Correctional Officer Trinity Dearborn is changing employment status from full-time to part-time effective April 2nd, 2024. She was hired October 6th, 2022, and is not due any sign-on bonus. She received her second sign-on bonus in November. And so she's up to date. So-
Now, this would have been an employee that got the original, the $15,000 sign-on bonus.
Yes, she received the first half of the sign-on bonus in November 23rd, 2022. She received the final 7,500 in November of 2023. Okay, but the good news is she wants to stay on. She is moving on to a position that she's been doing part-time as an EMT. And she's been offered a job as a full-time EMT, and that's where her passion lies. And she's been doing it part-time for quite some time. So this gives her her career path, I guess. But she still also wants to be part of the family at jail. So that's a good thing.
So noted.
Okay, and that is it for HR.
So,
Yeah, let's see.
You all set?
I am.
thank you very, very much, and
Yeah.
the warrants and everything are right.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ready to go, Chris?
Yeah.
These are all signed now.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, good morning, how are you guys doing?
Very good. Are you floating away anywhere?
Not yet.
How's the Superior Court solid looking?
Good, good.
Okay, good.
Not much going on, well, a lot going on, but not much at the same time. We're just busy, obviously, getting stuff finalized, moving out of the Superior Court building. Rodney and I, we got all the HR finance boxes out of here, and they're all in the back in this room here. I'm gonna start working with DA and then with Barb with Archives. We've talked about all the stuff up there, filing cabinets. I looked into a U-Haul.
Mm.
And it's like a 15-foot truck, starts at $29.95 flat rate. Then it's $1.09 per mile after that. So figured, it's not much at all. Hopefully we can get it in 1 or 2 trips.
And Barb, you said that there's what, like 200 boxes, and we can take that. You said that there's money left because we don't have our reserves.
I think I have
Money's
like
left.
$621 left in that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, with that 2 trips, 200 boxes, because it's not as big as the banker boxes, but
Yeah.
all fit pretty well in the U-Haul, and I think the 15-foot truck would be great. We got done painting the offices down here.
Extraordinary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Extraordinary. Who
Thank
did it? Who
Rodney.
did it?
Rodney.
Did he have help?
He did not. He wanted to do it. He did it all himself. He's painted a lot and he wanted to do it the right way. We still have to do the trim around the doors. But the walls are done. I think they look great.
Please
He did-
tell him.
Yes,
Absolutely
I will. He
amazing.
did
Looks
a
great.
really great job. Moving the furniture around. We moved the furniture around and stuff, but he did it.
Loving the way Susan's office is set up.
Yeah,
now.
that was a good,
Loving it.
yeah, it's set up there. I think it really opens it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Seems
Yeah.
cozy.
More light, not
More
everything.
light.
Yeah.
And it's nice to not have different colored blues and
Which
everything.
you really.
So it
Well,
looks
make it
really
look
good and
attractive.
professionally done. Rodney did a really excellent job. And
No, please
commend
tell
him a
him.
lot.
Wow.
I will.
Wow.
But yeah, that's all we got going on. We're gonna, in the basement over there, we're going through our tools, what's good, what's bad, things that need kept and looking for space to put everything. But we're getting there. We got this month to get it done, so.
Do you still utilize this room back here?
Yes, yeah, there's all kinds of tools out there and we gotta just go through and really organize. There's a lot of stuff over the years. I feel like that's just hasn't been organized in a while.
That's any of our garages.
Yeah, right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, tool room, so just gotta go through, see what's good, there's a lot of old stuff over there especially, and weed out what's good, what's not, and that's all that's going on, so we got this on.
Awesome.
That's it, that's all I have today.
All set?
I don't have any questions for this young
Thank
man.
you,
All right.
Chris.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much.
You guys.
Good to see you. Stay dry. Huh?
Yeah, let's try, right,
Yeah, right.
too, thank you guys.
Jason, are you around? Yeah, I guess he is. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm all right, yourself?
Good
Good.
morning, good morning.
Good. We've got deeds finally all set up over there with their phones and internet and all their devices. I think they're getting their final new desks in the 21st of the month, so we'll have to redo their wiring and computers once their final desks are in and they're off their folding tables.
You won't have to redo the wiring.
No, just the wiring to the desks and
Yeah,
things like
yeah.
that, because their desks can raise and lower, so
Oh.
we'll have to make sure they have enough cable to not pull it out of the wall, that sort of thing, but it won't be a big deal. Nothing in the walls or anything else like that. I spoke to Lincolnville Telephone yesterday about canceling the service over at the Superior Court as of the end of the month. So they've got that scheduled and moving one of our internet circuits up to the law enforcement complex for the DA's office, because they have to have a dedicated line that connects them up to the state DA's connection. So we'll have to just move that up to there. I think they said there might be $100 installation fee, but other than that, it's nothing, no big deal. I did ask them about, because we're not under contract currently. I did ask them if there were any deals or specials or anything like that. So they're gonna get back to me on that to see if we could save any money on that. I think that's it as far as that building goes. Ray is working on the wiring up there right now. All the framing is up for the walls and the electricians, and Ray is working on wiring and all that sort of stuff. So we're working on getting that done.
Can you believe how awesome Dean's looks?
It does look really good over there. I'm
I
impressed.
guess I really didn't realize how awesome it was gonna look.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, Consolidated swapped us over to the new phone contract yesterday or the day before, which caused some havoc with the phones. But I think we got that all straightened out. More or less what it did is it changed it so we don't dial 9 to get an outside line anymore. You just have to select an outside line and dial the number straight. That was due to a law that was implemented in 2020, I think, but we were grandfathered in until we made a contract change, and then we had to go by that law, which is fine. It just was a little bit of a panic situation when nobody could dial out, but we've got
That
that.
law did go into place quite a few years ago.
Yeah, it was
Because I
like,
am kind of surprised that law came about because of that child whose mother was murdered.
yeah,
I
yeah,
believe.
it's
And she
called
was in
Carrie's
a
Law.
hotel And she couldn't dial out.
Yeah, she was at a hotel and tried to dial 911, but didn't realize you had to dial 9 first.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they've done where
So
you
I am
have to get an
surprised
outside
that we're
line.
Just catching up on that.
Yeah, if you were on a current system and didn't make any changes, you were grandfathered in. But as soon as you made any changes to your contract, that went into effect. So that's why it's just hitting us now.
Huh.
So we're working on that. We're working with Consolidated to get the new phone system in. I'm trying to figure out, because they have to put a new line into this building. I'm trying to figure out what that's going to entail, because it's all underground from the pole at the corner of Church Street and Spring Street. So I'm trying to get them to come out and do a site visit for that to see if they're gonna have to put in a new conduit underground for that. They seem to think it's gonna be really easy to do, and I disagree a little bit. Because we've only got one conduit underground and then one conduit from the corner of the back of the break room at Deeds all the way over to this mechanical room here. So they think it's like, oh, it's gonna be really easy, and I think it's gonna be a little bit more involved than that, but we'll see. I know the one up at the law enforcement, because we've got a whole bunch of conduit to the, Dale put in half a dozen or a dozen 4-inch conduits, and we're only using probably half of them. So I know that one's gonna be really easy to do. But this building, I think, is gonna be a little bit more involved, so to speak. So I'm waiting for them to get back to me on that. Trying to think if there was anything else.
I was watching a thing on TV the other day, Jason, where they said that landlines were gonna be almost non-existent in a couple of years.
I
got rid of mine years ago.
think
Yeah.
they're gonna stick around for businesses, and things like
Yeah.
that. I did read that, I think there was an article in one of the papers last week or so that Consolidated got bought out again by another investment firm, and they were laying off like 50% of their customer service folks in Maine, possibly. So I will say that it's my thought, and I have no problem saying this publicly, that I guess I don't really see it getting better. But we'll see, you know, I did, when I spoke to LCI yesterday about our internet service, I did ask them to call me back about, you know, we've been on the current rate plan for quite a few years. I did ask them to call me back about new rate plans and things like that. I did also reach out to Spectrum, Consolidated, and GWI to see what they have for rate plans in the area. I figure it's a good time to shop around at the same time, to see what's going on with that. Figure it can't hurt. Not that we have to change, but I figure it's a good option just to look around as well. So there was, speaking of phones, I know there was an outage with AT&T wireless a week or two ago for 6 or 8 hours. I think it was mostly down south. It didn't seem to affect us up here. I know immediately when that came out, I started getting phone calls from US Cellular saying, you know, we're not having an outage. You could, you know, make sure to keep using us, but it didn't really affect us. So.
Sure.
Knock on wood, we weren't affected by it, but it did seem like it was nationwide, but mostly west and south from here. So Texas and California.
Well, these phone companies have been kind of seem that they've been noticing a big difference in revenue.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I think the you know, I think the landlines are kind of the trailing end. You know, people still have them, but it's not a moneymaker for them. It's kind of, you know, the trailing end, and people still have them. And
Well, they have them, I think, only because of the internet, if they want.
that, and I think probably, I'm guessing this, but don't quote me on it. I think by law, they probably have to provide them, would be my guess.
Yeah, I don't.
For 911 and things like that, but I don't know that to be sure, but I think they probably have to provide that service. But probably for, you know, low income and things like that, but I don't know.
Yeah, but they would. Yeah, in order to have a telephone, you have to be able to afford it.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if there are
So
things like that or what.
they just don't give them to people.
No, exactly. So I don't know, but I think they, you know, they probably have to have that service available at every house and things like that. So I know that. I do know, I was reading an article in one of the local papers that I know Lincolnville, there was at one of their town meetings recently, there was somebody complaining about the cell service down there from different providers or lack thereof of cell coverage and things like that. So I don't know if any.
Yeah, because we do have a problem.
Yeah, like if anybody's
Using
gonna.
about 3 different companies.
Yeah, if anybody's gonna step in there and look at, you know, expanding down there or anything else like that, but.
Like where I live, it's Verizon, US Cellular, it doesn't come in.
Yeah, exactly. So, we did get so we use, one thing I want to let you know about is we do use, a software called VMware, which for our servers, what it does is we have physical servers, and in the past, you had to have one physical server to run one piece of software, more or less. VMware allows you to take one physical server and run multiple, what are called virtual servers on it. And it allows you to more or less utilize more of those resources. So if you had one physical server that had certain requirements, you might not be utilizing all of those requirements. VMware has been around for, I'm going to say, at least 20 years. And really, I would say 80 to 90% of companies and businesses use that now. It's been around, and it's last year it was bought out, or I think the purchase ended in December. It was bought out by a company called Broadcom. Prior to that, Dell owned it. And I think prior to that, it was a standalone company. In January, I think January 15th or 16th or so, Broadcom came up with the lovely idea of announcing that they were raising their prices.
Oh, yeah.
Which was great because it was after our budget process. And everyone is getting their pitchforks and torches ready for Broadcom. I did get a renewal quote. Our renewal is due in March, or the end of March. Our renewal has gone up from 7,000 initially to 27,000. I was able to talk to Green Pages, who is our vendor our reseller, just, you know, that we buy it through. And I've put in more or less an appeal saying, you know, there's no way we can afford this. And we went from 7,000 to 27,000 down to 17,000. So I kind of gone halfway. There's not a way this year that I can get off from VMware by March, the end of March or mid-April. So I'm gonna have to figure out where I can get that money from to renew it this year, but I will definitely be looking at something else for next year.
So how many years have we had this VMware?
VMware, we've been on it ever since I've been here, and probably, I would have to look at our
And
records before that.
Where do we pay that? Where have we always paid it out of? And so has it always been 7,000?
It's been right around that. I would have to look at the history to see. I'm sure it's increased a little bit. Then the
Certainly.
problem is that a lot of companies are changing it, but VMware has always been a product where once you bought it, you owned the software and you just paid a maintenance fee every year. Now that Broadcom has purchased it, they've said, you don't own the software anymore. You pay every year to use it. So
Just like these other ones.
just like Microsoft and Adobe, it's a subscription now. So in the past, if we said, well, we don't want to pay the maintenance fee, we could walk that risk of saying, well, if we don't run into any problems, we still own it, but we would have to pay a per incident technical support fee. Whereas Broadcom now says, well, if you don't pay it, you don't get to use it anymore.
Okay,
Period.
I get that warped mentality because a lot of companies are doing, but what
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand, Jason, is when I look in one of the 14 budgets that I always have sitting here,
Yep.
where would I have found this cost to come out?
That would have come out of 0265 reserve.
So it
in the
won't
past.
show in the budget.
No, because my budget was always just payroll in the past, was just,
So now we've got a $10,000 increase that we've got to come up with.
yeah, so I'm gonna be trying to figure out where to pull that from, and I'll have to, you know, make some adjustments,
In the
and
budget that you gave us, does that 7,000?
that 7,000 renewal would have been in there.
Yeah,
It's just that increase of 10,000 that would not have been in there.
yeah, okay, thank you.
So, and that would have been in, I think in my budget, I had software subscription / renewals, and that would have been in there. It's that unforeseen increase. And yeah, so Broadcom, yeah, they're just more or less making enemies at this point and not friends.
Well, they can make enemies, can't they? Because
And it's
it's a
yeah,
monopoly.
it
and they
is,
can.
it is, and they're definitely, you know, some people are in the a little bit more advantageous position of their renewal isn't up until November or December. So they have time to migrate off of this software where we're in March and I can't do anything in 3 weeks. And some other people were up in January, so they, you know, yeah. So I will definitely be looking at our options for next year, but right now I just don't
Would you have that,
unfortunately have the time.
would you have put that under like non-Spillman software subscription?
Yes, yeah, that would have been that. Yeah, so. Yeah, it's just a yearly renewal that we pay every year, so. And it's one of those, for lack of a better term, costs of doing business, but. It is one of those things that increase slightly every year, but nobody saw a $20,000 increase coming this year. So, but it's, and yeah, Broadcom is not. I think it's safe to say Broadcom is off everyone's Christmas card list this year. To say the least, but yeah, so I just wanted to let you know that, but I'm definitely looking into it and looking at options, but I don't see a way to get around it this year. Other than trying to, you know, beg and plead with them, and I'm still working on that, but.
You know, I have at home, I have Spectrum for everything.
Yeah,
I can't understand, every 2 or 3 months, it goes up $10 or $12.
yeah.
Just like clockwork.
Yep, exactly. And I have reached out, and I did reach out to Motorola and said, because Motorola, you know, one of the options I talked to Green Pages about is, you know, you can host all your stuff in your building or in your premises.
Yeah.
One of the other options is you go to the cloud, so to speak, and you pay a monthly price to Microsoft or Amazon or another provider in the cloud. One of the problems we run into is Spillman is not certified for the cloud, so to speak. So if you put it in the cloud and you run into problems, there's a chance Motorola is going to say, well, we didn't tell you we're certified for the cloud. So you're kind of on your own when it comes to support issues. So I did call Motorola and I said, hey, are you guys aware of this? You know, if you're not certified for the cloud, you know, your customers are going to be spending a lot more, and we're a fairly small customer of theirs. So when I talked to Green Pages, you know, they said there are customers that were spending 100,000 and are now spending 300 to 400,000 on VMware. So when I talked to Motorola, I said, you guys really need to be looking at getting this cloud certified. So, you know, we have options at least, so to speak. And they said, yep, we're working on it, but we don't have a timeline on that. I said, okay, just, you know, I can't be the only one telling you guys this.
Sure.
And I'm not saying the cloud necessarily would be a cheaper option, but it would give us an option at least to look at. So that's, you know, we gotta have options to look at least. So I know that's not good news, but I at least want to keep you folks in the loop on that. And I'm not turning a blind eye to it, but I think this year we're kind of stuck.
Locked in, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not I'm not happy about it, but I don't
Well,
have,
what can you do?
this year I don't think we can do anything, but it's
Yeah.
definitely not something I'm looking to continue with if their pricing continues.
Right.
So,
Is that it this morning, Jason?
yes, fortunately, that's it. I don't have any more bad news for you.
Okay, thank you for coming in.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
You're gonna have a short break, Bob.
Sure.
Overworked, you know.
You ready for me?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're fine.
Okay. I understand from Carrie that you folks decided to keep the mileage rate the same as it was in 2023. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Do you mind taking just a formal vote on that so we have it for the record?
Okay, I'll move that we keep the mileage rate at the same as last year.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I done dropped it right down to state rate, but that's fine.
Okay, appreciate that. Eric Harvey sent over a records disposition form. They have removed another 10 books that have all met their retention time. And we keep track of that. That's considered a permanent record. And that was all from 2008 to 2010. So I'm sure you'll see more of those.
I'm just gonna say so noted.
Exactly.
I understand Laurel is really kicking butt,
I'll bet she is.
doing a great job getting rid of like the old records, scanning them. And
Oh,
getting rid of
really?
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, she's doing a heck of a job.
I finally, this morning, called again, Bernstein Sure found out who will be helping with the closing of the Superior Courthouse. So we have a name, I have contact information, and I'm gonna be sending everything over there as soon as we're done with this, with the court session. So we'll keep that ball moving forward.
So just to add something to that. Our part, when Eric said a few weeks ago that Belfast would be happy to, if we could deliver stuff there to January, well, they said the actual contract says the closing will be 10 days after we vacate the building. So it will, using March 31st as
Yeah.
a
That was still
Vacate.
2 weeks.
we will probably have the closing around, what do you figure, 3rd or 4th of April?
Your
Matt?
court session is April 4th, and the good thing about this is that the district, I think I might have mentioned to you, the district attorney's office will be, they have court grand jury that whole last week of March, and they requested that they be able to have Foxingen move them out April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So they will be out before the closing.
Yeah,
So we're gonna meet all the legal pieces of it, and it's all falling into place nicely. So that's the plan. Now I have to just make sure the attorney has the time to try to do it with that, but that's the date we're shooting for.
I was reading that contract and I told Barbara, go to call up Bernstein and make sure what, cause we have to give
Thank you very
some
much.
notice, what our responsibilities on what we have to pay for it, get it shut down.
That's good.
So we're moving forward with that. Regarding the Spirit of America, we already talked a little briefly, the jail will be doing the cookies. I've asked Sue to help with the certificates, to do those. Already
She
gave
did
her
it
all
last year,
that.
they come out beautiful.
She did,
Yeah,
she's
beautiful.
really good at that.
You say we had 23 to do, Beth?
Something like that, right around there. I have the exact number and she has all the names.
Yeah.
They changed the website, thank goodness. It's so much easier to get the names off. there.
Good.
And they shortened up what is said.
Yeah.
Much
Yeah,
better.
some of it is so long, you can't type it all in
Right,
here.
exactly. And I mentioned to you that, and Chris mentioned that things are organized over at Superior Court, marked, ready to be moved. I purged a number of records that were not permanent, that were over there, still purging. But those will be out of there too. The other thing I've been working on, we had a large FOIA request, which came in Saturday. We'd had to at least respond by today, which I've already done, to let them know that we will provide what we can. Most of it, we don't keep the records of. Some of it we do. I had to send to 2 different departments.
What is it, a FOIA request of?
It's like, they wanted all kinds of information about from what we have for contact information for towns, for municipalities, for economic groups and what have you. And I just took it, looked at it. All I did was give them literally what we have here, which isn't very much. So I scanned that and sent, there were 9 components to this request. He sent 9. And I did 7 of them and took care of them yesterday. So they're done and gone. And the other 2 departments are working on the 3 that are left. And I told them that they will get them when we reasonably.
What were
get
those
them done.
departments?
Finance and dispatch. They wanted all the EMS agencies, and I just reminded them, don't create records. What you have is what you said.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all you have to do.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it took a while to parse through that and figure out
Yeah,
what
yeah,
we had and what we didn't. I've also been doing digital and paper filing set up for 2024. And as I mentioned to you, I didn't send them to you yesterday because it was later in the day, but I finished the February 15 minutes. If you want to take time and read them, that's fine. If you don't, you can wait till next time. But those are done.
Are we up to date on all of our minutes now?
Not yet, because
Yeah.
it took us a little while to get some of the recordings, but we are still plugging away at it. We're still plugging away at it. And I think that's all I had for you. Yes.
So county commissioners, I have something to bring up this morning. Mike Thibodeau was on the committee with us on this 4-county thing. Mike Thibodeau has resigned from everything. He's kind of snowed under. He's got about 3 enterprises he's kind of trying to keep up with, so he just
It's it.
it's so anyway, sheriff we have an opening for 1 member at large, if you will. And this Kevin Kelly was in talking to the sheriff. The sheriff asked me about, he talked to Kevin and Kevin would be interested in doing the job. And it's something that I got like 10 months ago before I get done. And if Kevin gets,
Get him educated ahead of time.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe it would be a good chance for him to get kind of schooled up. And then he'll eventually take my place. That same opening will exist again. They'll have to find someone else.
Mm.
So I'd like to propose that Kevin Kelly would consider for that, filling that vacancy.
do you want a motion for that?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that Kevin Kelly be appointed to the Tri-County.
4-county regionalization
Yeah,
deal.
Whatever the official name of
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll second him.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do either of you have anything you want to bring up?
Well, tomorrow, I have been elected to the state, workforce, group there. And they're meeting tomorrow, and a lot of it is this 10-year economic plan. I'm kind of lost on it a little bit, but, they'll be a Zoom tomorrow morning from 9 to 12. I don't do them in person, because
You can Zoom.
yeah, I do Zoom on Zoom, so I will be attending that. And,
What was the name of that group again? I'm sorry.
the state, workforce.
I'm not sure if I should say congratulations or I'm sorry, but
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'm on the workforce for the 6th county.
Yeah.
But then the state, is an added one, and, I'm very lost with it. Because it's kind of disjointed.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I don't understand, whether they're hearing these hearings in Lewiston about the shooting, you know?
Yeah.
They're going on. So what do we do? This week, we presented 4 bills on gun control, and then you have this committee that's about a month away from. You see what I mean? It's the cat's getting ahead of the lot, if you will.
Are you shocked?
No,
You know, I mean, that's the legislature.
yeah,
I guess the only thing I've got is, we only have 9 residents right now in our reentry.
yeah.
Are you guys, what happens when the garden gets into swing? Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's like almost as low as our health insurance numbers.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I thought we were gonna try to keep a certain number.
Well, we're a 32-bed facility. How is it working with the other facilities
Well,
right now?
I did make the meeting that they had. Southern Maine is an abbreviated meeting, so my back was bothering me. I didn't go. It's like I didn't want to sit in a steel chair
Yeah,
all day, but I am gonna, the next meeting. I've been thinking about this and I haven't said anything to you about it, but I'm saying that I'm gonna come up with a proposal that if we're gonna do this regionalization thing, we want so many people from each county that goes into our Ranger Center program.
well, I thought that when I first started going to those meetings, that was the intent of it, is we had one facility that was a flagship.
Yeah,
We had one facility that took mental health patients, inmates, residents, and women. And then there was our reentry,
Yeah.
and that's what we would do, is draw
Yeah.
off it.
Right, and this was the one that was held in, the Samoset, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and I guess looking at those numbers and what it was before then, I'm a little concerned that we're not being utilized.
Well, of course, the other thing too, Amy, is that in all fairness, the judicial system, we had got all these, literally hundreds of people awaiting sentences that will qualify.
Everything was so.
Right, and I'm not disagreeing
Yeah.
there, I'm not, but I mean, I'm just thinking my expenses should be lower in my jail right now if our numbers are that
Oh,
low.
yeah, I was thinking
And-
about that the other day.
Yeah, I mean, like, my food shouldn't be up there, and, I mean, again, we're a 32-bed facility. I think what's disappointing is that we don't hear from departments unless something goes wrong.
Yeah.
It would be kind of nice to get updates, like years ago, we used to get updates from departments saying what was going on. I was also thinking about the comm center. So where are we at with that? Remember, he got a grant from, it was either King or Collins or maybe
Yeah.
both. Where are we at with that to get new
Right.
updated equipment and stuff? Dale got him a Homeland Security grant
Right.
for 40,000 for equipment for off property and this and that. It's like, we don't get updates from
I don't
anybody.
think that $160,000 grant is ever come in yet.
I don't know.
We've been talking about it for a year.
Right, but I mean, again, it's like, you don't get any updates
Yeah.
unless something goes wrong. It'd be kind of nice to know, but these jail numbers really worry me. It's like, Bill, the whole point of that 4 counties trying to go in this together was that everybody had their purpose in
Yeah.
it.
Right.
And we have a purpose. Why are we not being utilized? And I don't disagree. I think the court systems are so bogged down. You're right. But I mean, do we need to do we need to go out to the media and let people know what the heck's going on so that, you know, we can stir it up or whatever?
I think the thing that I think about the most, we can get the other counties motivated in sending each county on account, ought to count on sending us 2 or 3 people or 4 people, whatever. But I don't think, at present, I don't think we're getting any.
Oh, no, I mean, look, for 9,
Yeah,
and all I can think of is, think about it, Bill, we pay like VOA. You know,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
pay them to administer programming and everything else for 32 residents.
yeah.
And they've only got 9? So what kind of awesome things are they doing otherwise?
Yeah.
I just, I don't know, and then I got thinking the garden's coming up, like, what, Bill?
Yeah.
You know, so, I don't know, but, okay, no, that's
Yeah.
all.
We got enough for a shift for the gardens.
One shift,
You're right.
one shift every other day. Yeah.
Well, we'll, that's one thing we can work on with these other counties, if they truly want this thing to work.
That's the way it's
That's
supposed to be.
Yeah.
If they wanna ease some of their burden,
Yeah.
you know, we're supposed to be carrying it. I guess I'd ask, you know, Barb, if you could, or you would ask Susan, or somebody could, whoever's there, to reach out to Mike, maybe, and ask just for an update for our next meeting.
Sure.
And maybe to Ray, reach out, let's get an update.
Yep.
We are at town meeting time. I've got people asking me questions and I can't answer them.
Would you like it if they scheduled at least one meeting each month to? come
I
and
don't
give you-
care, but I think it's rather interesting that we don't see a lot of these departments unless there's a need or a want. You know, instead of like, hey, we don't want anything, but we're fully staffed and this is what's going on and this is how we're doing, but.
Every month might be more than what they're able.
Well, yeah,
because they're
or
not
once-
gonna have enough
Once in a while,
information to
but
give.
otherwise than that, I mean,
4 times a year or something.
you know, I
to
don't
give
think,
us,
I
you
don't
know,
think we
do
need
us
to make it more
quarterly or
difficult than it is, but
So maybe once a quarter?
whatever,
Yeah.
just
you know,
show up once in a while,
Oh,
Yeah,
show up.
and
You're a
especially if
department head, you're
something
making
comes
money.
up, you know.
Yeah.
You know. Come, yeah.
Anything else?
I don't think so. No.
You all set, Betty?
Yep, I'm all set.
You all set, Amy?
Yeah, I don't think anything else. We'll make a motion that we adjourn.
So.
Okay, all in favor?
Yep.
Yeah.
Adjourned.